we don't need roads.
Alan, seriously, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump into this. Obviously, the physicality of Jack Reacher is such an important part of the character. He's in the books, he's so big that people almost physically react to him when he walks into a room. They treat him differently. You're obviously a pretty big guy. So I'm sort of curious, how has your physicality affected how people have treated you in your life and maybe affected your own career?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah, I do share similarities with his build, right? There's a lot of confidence that you can have moving about the world, feeling like, you're the biggest guy in the room, and there's not a lot of danger there for guys like that. But the reaction that most people have to me in my life is that somebody my size has to be either an asshole or the dumb as rocks. And hopefully I'm neither, so usually when I get to know people, they're taken aback at the fact that I'm, kind and, maybe well-spoken. I don't know. So with Reacher, I mean, a lot of people fear him, and there's some of that too, but yeah, it's, you're right. There's a reaction that is maybe unexpected when you're the biggest guy in the room.
Well, I can tell you, based on our conversation so far, you are neither an asshole nor dumb as bricks. So you're good to go, man. You're good to go. I read that you actually read 24 Jack Reacher novels over an 8-month period in order to prepare to take on this character. Over the course of sort of that literary binge, what's the most surprising thing you feel like you discovered about who this man is?
Great question. Yeah, first of all, it wasn't work. There was not a day that I was reading where I was going like, I have to get through this. I fell in love with the Reacher series. Lee Child's work is absolutely incredible. I understood immediately why this is a character that has crossed almost every international border, hundreds of millions sold. I mean, I'm now a fan as much as anybody. But before getting into it, my understanding of this is sort of like a one-hander. This was like an action star. This was a guy who fights and he's violent, and that's what I thought was going to, sort of cover to cover. He's funny. He's got this funny, he's like this dry, sardonic sense of humor. It's dry, but he's smart enough to be a smart ass in a funny way. And that, he's okay making people feel uncomfortable. And I found that there were several times that I laughed out loud, and I was like, I didn't realize that that's what this was. It's super entertaining. Yeah.
I love that. So obviously it goes without saying that this is a different creature than what Tom Cruise did with the character over his 2 films a couple of years ago. Aside from size, what do you think is the biggest difference between his Jack Reacher and yours?
All I can say is I had, by the time I took on the role, I had 24 books to look at, right? There was no question I had as to how Reacher would react in a certain moment. So for us, it was a collaborative effort. And it was just a question of where do we dial in the mystery, the thriller, the drama, the romance, or the levity? There's all these dimensions to him, and tonally the show could kind of, steer one direction or the other, and we wanted to land in the right place. So it was just a question of authentically, let's focus just on this first book. How do we get this exactly right? And I think we landed in a good place.
That's fantastic. As we wrap up, I know that when you take on a role like this, you go through a lot of training and you take on a lot of skills, and you don't forget those just because you're done at the end of the day. So what is the coolest thing that you can now do that you had to learn because Jack Reacher needed to know how to do it?
I could fight with my elbows in a way that I never thought I could before. I never knew the back of my knee was like a weapon in and of itself. But there's, he's an incredible fighter, and I've had some unbelievable training. And, again, I mean, already being a certain size, there's a lot of confidence in that. But now being able to fight and, punch somebody with the back of my head, it's a gift. It's a real gift.
That's amazing. Okay, so we're talking about how this first season is just going to be the first book. Is there a particular book in the series that you're hoping, man, I hope we get to season 14 so we can do book 14? Is there a particular book that you really want to get to so you can act it out?
Look, one of my favorite books is Die Trying. I would give anything to be able to bring that one to life. It's got everything, from tanks to dogs. I would love to see that one happen someday.
That is all the tagline you need on the poster for that season. Everything you need from tanks to dogs. Yeah, and seriously, I would go, yep, I'm sold. I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
Alan, dude, congratulations on this, man. I hope this is the first of many times we're talking, but I hope it's the only time that we're ever talking over Zoom, because I'd love to meet you in person, man.
Thank you. I feel the same way. Thank you very much.
All right, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.